We're covering every angle of this shooting for you tonight. Haley Hines at the apartment complex where the first shooting went down, Vanessa Rufus at the scene of the car crash, and Nick Spedetto where the chase ended in gunfire. Nick picks up the story for us.
Well, 21-year-old Starling Javier was shot and killed here at the intersection of Linhart and Royal Palm Avenue earlier today by police. Starling Javier reportedly led police on a high-speed chase through Fort Myers. The chase ended after Starling Javier crashed his Lincoln Navigator into a marked patrol car, then a minivan with people inside. At that point, Javier jumped out of the car, ran, and started shooting at police with a .40 caliber semi-automatic pistol. Fort Myers Police Chief Doug Baker says his officers acted accordingly.
2 officers were in pursuit. The suspect turned and fired several rounds at the officers. The officers returned fire, striking the individual.
Now, the 2 officers in this incident were not injured. We are told, though, following standard procedure, they will be put on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation, which will be taken over by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
I heard what I thought was a huge explosion or maybe an earthquake because the whole building shook.
We were just working and I heard the explosion and looked around and we seen the front of the building just explode out the face of it. And at that point I dropped my tool pouches and we heard screaming.
A gentleman came out of the restaurant screaming. He had his arms up, his shirt was off, and he was yelling, "Call 911, call 911, I've been burned."
An unbelievable morning for people working on 5th Avenue South. And what Naples Fire Chief Stephen McInerney says started with this car, owned by a man working on the beer taps at Mangroves Cafe.
The car is running. Propane comes to make the delivery to the 500-gallon underground tank. We have very, very low humidity. Kind of have a perfect storm.
He says vapors from a leak somewhere in the propane lines was picked up by wind and pushed the gas right inside the restaurant's open back door. All of this happening 2 feet from the running car.
Makes contact with that engine and ignites. There's a flash fire throughout the entire back of the building. This is really a bomb that went off.
The explosion so strong it blew the roof completely off the building and left 3 men with severe burns.
Somebody had picked up his shirt. It was just strings. You could tell that was burned off.
It looked like he was in a lot of pain. His head was actually still smoky from his hair being singed.
Also topping our news at 5, the disappearance of Amy Patterson, the Cape Coral Middle School teacher who vanished last month.
There are still plenty of unanswered questions about exactly when she disappeared and what may have happened to her. Melissa Reitmeyer is live outside Mariner Middle with more on this developing story.
Well, tonight we've learned that Lee County deputies are up in Alabama and they're there to talk to Daniel Proctor's family. Now, you may recall that Daniel Proctor is Amy Patterson's ex-husband and current boyfriend and a person of interest in her disappearance. It wasn't long after Amy Patterson missed the first day on July 25th that school officials knew something was wrong.
The school district contacted the sheriff's office as they were diligently concerned about her well-being and her whereabouts. And from there, we took the investigation forward and have been actively looking for her.
The sheriff's office will not release an official date when they received the school district's call. But tonight, the investigation has taken Lee County deputies to Alabama, where Patterson and Proctor's mothers live. Patterson's mother says the last time she spoke to her daughter was July 17th, about a week before she was discovered missing. They're also continuing their search for Patterson's ex-husband and current boyfriend, Daniel Proctor, believing he may be able to lead them to the missing science teacher.
We believe that he has information that can help us in this investigation.
Meanwhile, rumors of Patterson's whereabouts are swirling around Mariner Middle. Many students have heard she died in a car crash, something Lee County deputies say is untrue.
And, kids come home with a lot of questions and you just try to handle it as best you can, but whether it's a teacher here or anyone, it's a sad situation.
Because of her failure to report status, the district has removed her from their active employee system and will stop pay until that status is changed. Now, we've also learned that the reason it took nearly a month to file an official missing persons report is because it takes a relative to officially do that. And when Amy Patterson didn't show up to school, deputies attempted to call Daniel Proctor, who of course to this day is nowhere to be found. And Chris, we've realized that it was actually Daniel Proctor's mother who eventually filed that report.
Firefighters are concerned strong winds and dry weather over the weekend could lead to a flare-up. Within the last hour, fire officials returned from their second aerial tour of the 180-acre site. Their concern lies further south from where we're at, with a number of homes that are threatened if the fire flares up again. Crews returned from an aerial look at the 180-acre brush fire late this afternoon. It's been a long and grueling 3 days for firefighters battling a relatively small but stubborn brush fire off Vincent Road and Shovelhead Road. Division Chief Don Cleland and his crew of 24 spent the day putting out small flare-ups ahead of strong winds expected out of the northeast. The fear is the fire could spread south near some homes. The remote area of the fire has made it tough to fight. The nearest fire hydrant is 4 miles from where the brush is burning. Fire officials say the next 24 hours are crucial. Thunderstorms are expected to move into the area and could bring some much-needed rain or dreaded dry lightning.
As long as we get rain before we get a lot of lightning, the lightning won't be a problem. If we get a lot of dry lightning at the beginning of it, then we're going to have a lot of problems.
Firefighters will be here throughout the weekend setting backfires and watching closely for any flare-ups. Now, the cause of this fire is still unclear.
The alleged victim, now 17 years old, spent several hours on the stand recalling where, when, and how many times she claims to have sexual contact with her band director, Robert Hamburg, beginning with a hug.
It was casual, maybe a little more intimate than like normal casual. It was like full body.
The teen says the relationship between she and the band director started off as flirting, but became more intimate, even professing their love for each other. January 28th, 2009 is a day she says she'll never forget.
Because that was the day of our first kiss, and we used that date kind of like an anniversary type of date.
The girl told the court how often she and Hamburg would meet, mostly inside a locked ladies' dressing room at school, where they would be intimate.
We started to kiss and to touch, and we ended up naked, and I laid on the bed, and he got the condom.
She also claimed to have gone to his home several times. Hamburg's attorney says the teen came from a broken home and was seeking attention and made the relationship up.
You don't remember the date?
No.
You remember the date you first kissed him? You don't remember the date you gave him oral sex?
Although the teen says other students at the school started to spread rumors, it may actually be a note intercepted by a teacher between the victim and another student that this alleged relationship came to light. That teacher is expected to take the stand.
From the outside, Amy Patterson in Daniel Proctor's Bokeelia home looks the same as it always has. And the couple's landlord tells Wink News when he went inside, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. He says the home was clean and the beds were made. But now the home is considered a crime scene, and neighbors tell me they're fearful because they say Proctor lied to them and they don't know what else he's capable of.
I said, well, my wife went to visit family and she got killed in a car accident.
He sat right there on the porch and cried to me and told me this big story.
But soon, Proctor's story began unraveling and sheriff's deputies became suspicious. Now they believe he killed Patterson, stole her car, and fled to his home state of Alabama.
We have Amy's car. We have Amy's car in custody.
Sheriff's deputies say Proctor then stole another vehicle and a gun. He also left a note saying he may try to return to the state, which is why his neighbors are keeping their eyes peeled when they're home.
Around 2:30 Tuesday afternoon, two masked gunmen held up a jewelry delivery man in the Thalheimer's Jewelers parking lot. Little did they know the store's owner, Sandy Thalheimer, happened to be watching from his truck.
They pulled in really fast, much faster than people pull into the parking lot. And then I saw they had masks, and I said, oh, we're getting ready to get robbed.
As the suspects jumped into their getaway car, Thalheimer sprung into action.
I backed up a little bit to get a run, and as they pulled out, I just rammed them.
And Thalheimer's truck was stuck. Sitting on his gun, he knew he had to make another quick decision.
First guy was over there, probably 20 feet away. When he turned, I fired. He took off really quick. I don't know if I hit him or not. The second guy over here started shooting at me, and then I started shooting back at him, and then they were gone, and I was out of bullets.
Little orange reddish SUV came speeding down the road and picked them up down by the empty lot.
That SUV was later recovered near Creech Road. Naples police saying the suspects ditched it for yet a third getaway vehicle. Even though they didn't actually rob the store, but the salesperson, Thalheimer doesn't want that happening on his property.
You don't have time to think about being afraid or anything like that. Everything happens really quick, and you just do it.